Welcome, everyone, to Green Talk by Green Care Solutions. I'm your host, Yanitza Munoz. You guys are watching and listening on NBC Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, and all podcast platforms. We have the amazing Jim Jackson today. He's a former NBA superstar and currently a sports analyst for Fox Sports. And I'm here with my lovely co-host.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Angela Mazzanti, and today we'll be speaking about CBD in sports. Now, we're not doctors, but Green Care Solutions has doctors for you. And make sure you call us for any of your Green Care Solutions needs at 951-609-4071. And we are a 13 times award-winning company and featured in Forbes.
So thank you so much, Jim, for taking the time to do this video Zoom. You've had such an amazing career. You've played for 12 different teams throughout your career. You are also part of the Laker family, which is amazing. You know, here we are in Los Angeles, so Laker love.
First, thanks for having me on the show. It's been long overdue, but I mean, first of all, it's the longest, shortest career imaginable. And I played 14 years, but it goes by like this. I mean, I've been retired since 2006, and that's 14 years of retirement. But when you're in the heat of the moment, a lot of times I don't think you can really enjoy it because you're trying to always get to that next level. You know what I mean? It's like you want to achieve more, especially when you don't have success early. You're always trying to reach that next stage. What is that next stage of success? What is that next pinnacle of success? So a lot of times you're kind of caught in the moment where really, truly enjoying professional basketball is kind of tough at times. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the play. I had a great career, had a lot of fun playing the game, but it was always like, now that I look back at it, now I can think about, you know, man, it was a lot of fun. I mean, great teammates, traveled to a lot of great cities, a lot of hard work. But when I reflect back on it, it's like when you're going through that journey and that process, you don't really enjoy it until you kind of reach the end and you kind of put it all together. And that's when it stands out to you.
Yeah, very well put. What are your thoughts? So, you know, the NBA will be resuming in July 31st. You know, we took a pause, which, you know, we understand the pandemic was a serious situation. What do you think will be happening once we resume in July 31st?
Well, I'm part of the Turner team as well. So we're TNT and Turner, NBA TV. And I'll be covering those games. Whether we'll be in Orlando or not, I'm not quite sure. But it's a touchy situation from this perspective, is that with everything that's going on in regards to the social movement right now because of George Floyd's death, everybody kind of jumping into this group in regards to pushing for social reform, okay? Injustices done to, especially to Black Americans, Black males, you kind of question, okay, where does sports fit into that? Okay, is it necessary? Will it take you to distractions away from the bigger picture? And a lot of that can be said, yes, but I think with basketball and what's going on, if we start back on July 31st, it can be utilized only as a platform for people to be able to kind of get away from their everyday situations to enjoy basketball again. But also it can be a platform too where the NBA has always been out front on social issues, that they'll be able to use that platform to push the narrative via interviews with players, sponsorship packages, whether they're doing PSAs, public service announcements during the games. It's a whole plethora of things that I think could happen because the NBA has always been out in the forefront if these games do come back in July.
That's a really good point because so much has changed with social distancing, and now there's so much social activism going on right now, and I think it will be a positive platform because you have all these well-respected people that have millions of followers, and these million people want to, they want positive change. So I think there could be very, very good.
I mean, and again, it's interesting times. Again, this is all unconventional. I mean, come on, you think about everything in 2020. It's just been crazy with the death of Kobe Bryant, first of all, and then, the pandemic, and then, all of this stuff just started to kind of come together. But, the thing that we have to keep in mind is that if you live long enough, you're going to go through some stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, and you got to figure out how to make the adjustment. Now, again, we're blessed a little bit more that unlike a lot of people who maybe got furloughed or lost their jobs, lost their businesses, they really have to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. And those are the people that I feel for, and now if basketball can provide just a little spark, just a little enthusiasm, use it. Basketball can, again, for the social justice part of it, push the narrative forward because you have some powerful voices out there in the NBA that people respect. Not only here in the United States, you're talking about international opportunity to touch the world and kind of push that narrative forward.
100%. Very well said. Also, what are your thoughts about a lot of NBA players using CBD to help them with pain as an alternative remedy?
I love it. I mean, if you think about it, the drug itself, I don't even like to call it a drug, I say that the natural substances that you grow in the ground offer healing purposes. It's been like that throughout the history. Okay, now, some people may use it in other aspects because they want to get away from their everyday life. I get it. But I love the fact that you're able to use that instead of medicating yourself with prescription drugs, which, one, I don't really like taking drugs because I think it's bad for your body a lot of times. Two, you run the risk of, you've seen it with painkillers, being addicted to these type of prescription drugs. With cannabis and the CBD oil, I don't think you have those same kind of temptations from that perspective. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys have been doing it for a long time, and I'm glad finally that not only basketball, but all the sports are starting to look at this and say, this is a viable option opposed to using prescription drugs to treat ailments that you may have.
Yes, 100%. Because we've had Tito Ortiz on our show, John Sally, and they've said they've had crazy injuries because, professional athlete just like yourself. And they've been prescribed these narcotics because of the normality of it. And I don't think that a lot of doctors, I don't think they do it on purpose. I think it was a normality in our culture. And then unfortunately, you can become addicted and you could have withdrawals from it, even though you think, hey, I work out every day, I'm on a strict diet, there's no way this can ever happen to me, and it does. Now people can even get addicted by going to the dentist. I've heard cases where they'll get their teeth pulled out and they'll take the medication, the narcotics prescribed, and now they're addicted. It's wild how strong this narcotic is. So CBD is a great anti-inflammatory and comes from Mother Nature. It's been here. People have been using it for thousands of years.
Well, and it's also you see so many benefits with CBD and THC, even when it comes to physical injury, but also the mental aspect of it and the helping anxiety and depression and everything like that, which especially a lot of grown males don't talk about, is mental health, and it's so important to your health in general.
No, I like the point too that you made in regards to the mental aspect of it too, because it allows you now to decompress, I would say, and not worry about the side effects that you may get from a prescription drug and the benefits of using it. For you too, the problem with a lot of the medical world is it's a money thing, okay? It's a money thing in regards to taking those prescriptions out of the hands of professional teams and replacing it with marijuana. But also too, these doctors, they know that it's a chance that you can get hooked on these drugs. They know it. You know what I mean? Because over the course of time, we've seen it happen. So them still prescribing it, it still has an issue with me. Yes, it can relieve some pain temporarily, but what's the cause and effect long term of you taking those? Just like an anti-inflammatory, if you take too much of it, and I had a friend of mine who did it in sports, guess what? Overworked his kidney, ended up having to have a kidney transfer.
Wow.
Okay, because transplant, because of that, because of the anti-inflammatory. Now, if you had something natural that could help with the pain, and he was taking the anti-inflammatory because of the pain in his body, at that time, if cannabis would have been legal, he could have taken that, help cure his pain, or make it subside without having to go through the issue with his kidney.
And it's so interesting. That's, exactly hit it right on the nail, how we were getting prescribed these things that are horrible for us, became our culture, and it's accepted when we have something that was been on our planet for thousands of years that our ancestors have been using, but it was deemed illegal as a Schedule 1 drug. So with CBD, now that it's federally legal, it's still kind of difficult because a lot of people still kind of think it's snake oil. And then you get the knockoff brands that kind of don't help the legitimacy of it. I know you're also very familiar with the knockoff brands because you see a lot of them on social media. Angela is a huge advocate in the space and a cannabis influencer.
Yeah, and even like not even just the prescription drugs can be like extremely harmful. Even like over-the-counter medications, like if you take too much aspirin, the more aspirin you take, the more like your body becomes susceptible or becomes used to it, and then it can long-term cause like issues. Whereas like if you started taking CBD to deal with some of those like headaches or stuff like that.
Well, the NBA right now, they aren't going to be testing for cannabis. Is that correct? It's going to be they're going to be allowing people to medicate recreationally.
Right. Yeah. Well, and but the NBA again also has always been at the forefront of advocacy of what's going on, not only just in sports, but what's going on in the nation. So their ears are always open to the street to see what's going on. And I think the Players Union have voiced an opinion here in regards to why isn't cannabis allowed? Why is it now we're drug testing? I remember when that came into effect when they started testing for, marijuana. And for that reversal to happen, I think speaks volumes in regards to the way that we view cannabis, marijuana now compared to when we were younger, because it was always, like you talked about, it's been here. But the big drug companies couldn't figure out how to monetize it. So, of course, you're going to keep that down. Now, the big companies are figuring out how to monetize it. The federal government's figuring out how to monetize it, use the cash. Now it's okay to use, once all of that happens, but better late than never in regards to being able to get the benefits from it.
And it's good to know that now, federally we can purchase it, but there's also, I always encourage all of our listeners and viewers to do your research, because sometimes you might buy CBD and you think it's real CBD, but it could be watered down or there could be a lot of additives in it. So always do your research, making sure it's from a accredited company that has a website at least, or anywhere that's backed up by lab tests.
They should have lab tests, and
very important.
The price point is important to know if it's so cheap that it looks a little weird, or the milligram dosage is too high. There's a lot of things to look out for, where it's it's 2,500 milligrams, but it's only $10.
Yeah, it doesn't
there's
make
no
sense.
way.
So Angela, what would be for somebody that's looking for CBD? What would be kind of the signs that you would look for? Is there a certain price range that it should be in according to the milliliters that it comes in?
I mean, most companies I see, the genuine, reputable companies, I normally see real CBD oil going for anywhere from 40 to 50, and it's normally a 200 milligram range or something in that price point. But again, if a company isn't willing to show their credentials and isn't willing to show their testing and their lab results, then I think that's already the biggest red flag that you can find. But people, I notice now, are so quick, especially with the internet and people just reposting things without looking into them. People are so quick to just believe the first thing they see or the first ad that they see promoting a CBD company. So it is important to look into websites, look through the internet. The internet is our biggest tool that so many of us don't use to our advantage, and there's a lot of information on there.
Yeah, so do your do your research. You have to get your resources. Yes, because CBD is good, but just be very careful you're not getting what people are saying, the snake oil. And I think that's also is embedded in our culture because of how we were visualizing cannabis to be.
Different milligram dosage can work for different people, because if you're it'll depend if your metabolism's fast. It'll depend on your body type and weight, about how much you might need to take. And it's a lot of testing with yourself, because cannabis affects everybody so differently. That it's just doing your research to see and testing okay, today I'm going to try this milligram dosage. If it doesn't work, then let me try to add a little bit more, because with CBD, luckily, there's really no downsides into taking too much.
Yeah, that is actually a good point too. What's interesting also with because, yourself, you're 6'6", you're tall, so you're bigger than us. So your dosage would be different. So also all of our viewers, maybe go to a nutritionist, go to a specialist in this. We're going to be giving you some products too. We'll be mailing you some Green Care Solution products. We have the CBD, we have the hemp, difference. Yeah. I'm giving you some. We have a CBD roll-on for joint pain, and we also do have the tinctures.
I need it for my shoulder right now. My shoulder, and a lot of times my neck, because I travel so much. So I try to get something else to be able to use. And actually CBD, a few people recommended that I start to use it, especially because I travel so much, airplane, rent-a-cars, different beds, working out still, that you use it. And I'm glad that you're sending me some. Good luck, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. And, so many other athletes, too, have been even saying, like Paul Pierce, Matt Barnes, Al Harrington has his own CBD company now. And they're just going to, what you were just saying, like going back to that and how they give their life to the NBA. They give their life as an athlete in general. And they need to protect themselves, too. They're working so hard from as a child onto their adulthood, and they could kill themselves with narcotics by accident. Yeah, I mean, it's scary, though. I mean, but growing up, that's all you really knew. You go to your trainer and something is going on, they're going to give you a prescription. They're going to give you some medicine, whatever it is, to kind of help ease the pain. It's funny because Al Harrington is a good friend. He got into it because his grandmother was ill, but she started using, marijuana to ease her pain. So he continued to watch the positive effects that it had on his grandmother, not just physically, but mentally, she was feeling better. That's what got Al into it, thinking, okay, well, if this works for my grandmother in regards to easing some of the pains that were going on in her body, well, athletes are the same way, in regards to that, and don't have to rely on the prescription drugs that kind of eat you up inside, over time, because you continue to take it. And those guys, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, good friend of mine, Katino Mobley, a lot of guys are in that space, whether it's through the distribution side, whether they have dispensaries, but a lot more guys are into it because they know not only the financial gains, but the medical benefits that a lot of people can receive by using the product. And how is the quarantine for you?
To be honest with you, I'm blessed. Again, blessed to not have to worry about what tomorrow is going to bring. Even though I'm not working, but I laid myself out so I don't have to worry about that. But honestly, it gave me more time to spend with my going to be 2-year-old, because generally during this time I would be traveling. So if nothing else, I saw in my neighborhood, and I hope that it continues to push forward, a lot more families spending time together, whether that's taking walks, going to the park, they ate together. And a lot of professional men and women who traveled a lot were now able to utilize that time at home to really kind of get to know their kids again, or get to know your husband and wife again. So to me, it was a great time to reflect, to, count my blessings, and just look forward to kind of figuring out what's the next steps once we get through everything.
So thank you so very much for being here on Green Talk by Green Care Solutions. I'm your host, Yanitza Munoz, and I'm here with...
And it's your girl, Angela Mazzanti.
Thank you so very much. I know a lot of people already follow you on social media, but what are your social media handles so I can put them right here at the bottom of the screen?
There is Jim Jackson 419, and IG is Jim Jackson 2224.
Yes, thank you.
No Facebook.
Nah. Yeah.
No TikTok yet?
Yeah.
There's so many social media platforms. It's hard to put so much attention to all of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for tuning in here on NBC Radio and also on all podcast platforms. Till next time, thank you again, Jim.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you.